but to ensure we have a common understanding. I think those are the issues maybe I wanted maybe to bring out as of now.
Thank you so much for those interventions. I now am turning to Laxman Basnet, General Secretary of the South Asian Trade Union Network. And thank you, Laxman. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
Thank you very much, Madam Michelle. I have only 1 minute to speak. This is GCM is a concern of United Nations. It's a mother of mother of all the negotiations in the world in favor of workers. It should be in favor of workers. One thing, this is a pretext. The other thing is the government does the negotiation between two countries for the migrant workers. So migrant workers have no say in this, the whole scenario. My request to you is the negotiation for the work conditions should be done between the workers and the employers, not between two governments. If it is done between the two governments, then the government has the moral obligation to fulfill it for the workers as up to the now what is happening. We are defending this paper. No, workers has no validity to defend it. It should be implemented by the two signatories. Two signatories, that means country of origin and country of destination. That is for sure. We have to change our paradigm. We are not signing our agreement. The slavery agreement, we are not signing. The migrant workers are not signing. The governments are signing it. So the government has the right, government has the obligation to fulfill all the 23 objectives. And United Nations is the organization which should oversee that whether these 23 objectives have been fulfilled or not. Because they have in Morocco, 152 countries have signed it in Morocco. I know it is not a legally obligation. This is not a legal binding, but more than legal binding, there is a moral binding of 152 countries to fulfill this obligation. So I think we should direct our discussion in the IMRF that the agreement should be between two workers and employers, not to the two governments. If the two governments are signing on behalf of workers and employers, they should fulfill this GCM. Thank you very much, Madam Michelle.
Thank you very much, Laxman. Appreciate the inputs. I now turn to the Government of Canada, and I believe you are on. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Canada strongly supports the creation of regular pathways to facilitate both permanent and temporary migration. So we welcome the opportunity to discuss this priority. Regular pathways can be used to respond to labor market needs, to boost innovation, to support family reunification, to stimulate the economy, and help migrants in vulnerable situations. In addition, by providing opportunities for regular migration, we provide alternatives to those who may feel they have no other choice than to resort to irregular migration, which can put migrants in situations of vulnerability. Canada has been implementing its plan to welcome new permanent residents at a rate of about 1% of Canada's population every year over a 3-year period. In 2021, we achieved our ambitious target of 401,000 new permanent residents, despite a challenging environment due to COVID. Canada strongly believes that migration plays an important role in our economic recovery and growth as we move towards a post-COVID-19 world. The pandemic also helped to shine a light on the invaluable roles played by migrants in our communities and across all sectors of the economy, furthering our already strong public discourse on the positive contributions of migrants. Canada hopes the IMRF will allow us to learn from other member states developing new and innovative regular pathways. We would be especially interested in learning about pathways for persons that often experience situations of vulnerability, such as children, women, and members of the LGBTI community. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
One last thing, Canada also welcomes the reference to by speakers today to the promotion of ethical recruitment and the protection of migrant workers. This is a priority for us, and we would encourage everyone to join the recently established Global Policy Network on Recruitment, which directly supports the achievement of GCM Objective 6. So we hope that you'll also join us on January 31st at a virtual session, which will introduce the Global Policy Network on Recruitment to member agencies of the UN Network on Migration. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Kristof Tamas of Sweden, I turn to you now.
Thank you, Michelle. I would like to thank the UN Network on Migration for organizing this dialogue series in preparation of the IMRF. From a Swedish perspective, we have a few comments to contribute to the dialogue. First, on Objective 2 on minimizing the adverse drivers, we should realize that development generally creates more options for individuals, both to remain or to leave a country as part of their income strategy. It is, for example, not always the unemployed who emigrate, but often those in employment who try to improve their opportunities. So international cooperation through ODA and FDI needs to be very targeted if the adverse drivers of involuntary migration are to be addressed effectively. Second, on enhancing pathways for regular migration, there is a need to work together on reducing the barriers that prevent migrants from using them and meeting labor market needs. Informal labor markets, especially, often represent a significant barrier to integration, even for regular migrants who therefore cannot be protected. Third, on facilitating fair and ethical recruitment, the private sector has a role regarding the recruitment of migrants and making sure that it takes place in respect of applicable legal frameworks and protection needs. In this regard, Sweden has supported the IRIS initiative, including the IRIS Global Policy Network in cooperation with IOM. Fourth, on strengthening certainty and predictability in migration procedures, migration policies should be integral and inclusive in nature. Reducing the cost of immigration, visa and permit procedures should be regarded as a way to empower migrants. Fifth and finally, on investing in skills development and facilitating mutual recognition of qualifications, it is useful to set up regional systems for mutual recognition of skills and qualifications and validation of professional certifications and formal educational degrees. States should reduce administrative burdens while ensuring high quality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kristof. I'd like to now turn to Maja Muchu Ahmed Masoudi from, Maja Muchu from Morocco, apologies. And then I have Ambassador Evan Garcia from the Philippines, the Employers Federation of Ceylon, Azerbaijan, El Salvador, and Germany again. Sorry, the list is growing, but hopefully we can be very short. So thank you. Maja Muchu, Morocco, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. And let me first thank you for hosting this meeting, which provides an opportunity to share good practices and shed light on persistent challenges. I would like to start by saying the obvious, how difficult the situation is today with the multifaceted impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on vulnerable populations, including or particularly on migrants, in addition to already existing difficult challenges related to conflicts and climate change, to name these two. That is why Morocco continues with determination the implementation of its pioneering national strategy of immigration and asylum in accordance with the enlightened vision of His Majesty the King for a humane, responsible, and solidarity-based governance of migration issues. In addition, the Moroccan institutions in charge of migration-related issues coordinate their strategies with national and international NGOs to provide an appropriate space for migrants to live in dignity, And here I would like to seize this opportunity to commend the work of civil society, think tank, and academia for their key and valuable contribution to advancing migration policies. Morocco included migrants in the COVID-19 vaccine since the beginning and without any discrimination of any kind, and allowed immigrants to access health and administrative services and the job market, while providing their children with the necessary education and training, and also providing women and girls with gender-responsive policies. Let me refer to Mrs. Roney's comments earlier. We totally support her statement as the recruitment of migrants does indeed improve the labor market functioning. Finally, just upon His Majesty King Mohammed VI was designated champion of the African Union on the migration issue, and Morocco now hosts the headquarters of the first AU Immigration Observatory. So I think that this is a place also to exchange good practices and also challenges. We will keep on these commitments stemming from the highest level of Morocco, and we stand ready to enhance partnerships and cooperation with countries and the region. One point, if I may, Madam Moderator, to Mr. Laxman Basnet, who just spoke before. Yes, there is a legal binding and moral binding obligations. At the level of the UN, Morocco with the GCM champions work hard to advance the immigration issues, and we just had very difficult negotiations facilitated by our dear colleagues from Mexico, the Philippines, and Indonesia. We seize this opportunity to thank them for their role here in the UN. So again, this meeting is a good opportunity to get more good practices and ideas from experts and other member states and NGOs. And thank you very much. And back to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for those points. I turn now to Ambassador Garcia. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for handling this very, very busy session. Undersecretary Sarah Arreola has already spoken on the major points of the Philippines. I just had two aspects of an international perspective. The first thing is that the international organizations involved in migration and other migration-related issues all showed that they can work together in putting together the GCM. This is one powerful way of doing away with the old silos we used to have. And we may commend you in the ILO and the network and IOM for all the hard work you have been doing, and keep it up. Secondly, is to point to the MPTF, the Multi-Partner Trust Fund, as a potentially useful tool for underscoring the effective implementation of the GCM based on the needs of countries who are able to provide the projects that would be funded. The Philippines has one. We think this is a powerful message that can help promote the message for decent work and global migration governance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador. And again, thanks for the points on the Multi-Partner Trust Fund. Really, really important in moving forward. I turn now to Dasun Khoudour, the Employers Federation of Ceylon. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. In this session, that I would like to explain one of the good practices that EFC is handling on with the Skills Ministry, which is the Skills Passport system. So the successful integration of migrant workers when they return to Sri Lanka relies on the workers providing evidence of their expertise and the experience acquired overseas. Furthermore, the workers' ability to secure employment is linked with their skills and competencies while providing a presence of proof. And also it can be difficult sometimes for lost and semi-skilled returning migrant workers to produce and get engaged with the national economy while they return to the home country. Although Sri Lanka has established national skills assessment system, there is no a systematic method of recognition of the skills of workers. As a result, some such workers might lose the opportunities for obtaining employment while getting attractive pay and decent work conditions. So including the potential and sometimes the restricting themselves for upward mobility. In the light of above, that the Treasury and Vocational Education Commission of the Ministry of Skills Development and the Employers Federation of Ceylon, with the help of the International Labour Organization, introduced a skills passport system, having identified the need of four-field skills recognition system to assist a returning migrant workers and to become more visible to potential employers in the country. It's a system, the passport system is a common platform through which migrant workers or workers in Sri Lanka and the other workers, not only the migrant workers, but other workers also, compatibility with the vacancy can be accessed together with the detailed history of the workers' core competencies and the employment history. The workers can acquire exemption from courses or modules, or also they have taken. The system of documentation will ensure the skills and expertise of the experience of a worker recorded in a methodical way, both within the across all the sectors. The significant area is skills and experience obtained informally can be assessed and certified. And also it creates opportunities for entrepreneurship and other higher learnings, enable upward mobility and employment, which leads to better wages and working conditions. So this is one of the key practice that we have established with the help of different stakeholders, and giving more opportunities to returning migrants to get engaged with the national economy more proactively with this existing system. So you can search more details in the www.nsp.gov.lk, which open up to everyone, and you can visit and see more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I do hope you post that in the chat. Very important,
yes.
The skills passport issues. I have now on the list Azerbaijan, El Salvador, and Germany, and the IDWF. We are able to go until 5:30, but then we'll have to cut it off. So really hope everyone can post in the chat. Let me turn to Azerbaijan. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And please, first of all, accept my apologies for without using this video due to technical circumstances. I'll just quickly get onto our intervention. GCM is the central document that is and will continue to shape perceptions and approach towards global governance of migration and mobility. From the negotiation rounds, Azerbaijan supported the GCM and believing in its principles, values, and also the objectives. And in order to achieve these objectives, uphold the principles, we should spare no effort in incorporating and also adjusting our actions in all pillars and stages of migration management, and this includes policy documents, institutional settings, partnerships, which reflects migrant-centric approach based on the whole of society and government principles. Azerbaijan, as a champion country, always by focusing on convenience of migrants and providing more flexible pathways, have reinforced efforts on promoting and improving digitalization and e-services. In order to ensure that whole of society approach in place, we have established structured dialogue mechanisms with civil society organizations, private sector, which we think are useful platforms to discuss opportunities and challenges with all migration stakeholders of migration. Moreover, taking into account the importance of partnership at all levels, I would like to also highlight an initiative with the IOM mission in Azerbaijan, which focuses on establishing a regional training center on migration with the view of promoting regional cooperation in capacity building in migration sphere for the range of target groups that involves migration stakeholders as well. And this RTCM is focusing on covering the countries from Central Asia, Eastern Partnership countries, Middle East, and South Caucasus, which we believe can be a really good platform to foster cooperation. And I'd like to stop here and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. El Salvador, you have the floor. Do we still have El Salvador?
Hola.
Hola.
Sí, perfecto. Buenos días. Queríamos comentar también los avances en el marco del pacto, específicamente con el objetivo 2, los factores adversos y estructurales para abordar lo que propicia la migración de forma irregular. Comentarles que a nivel de país estamos muy comprometidos como gobierno de El Salvador en abordar esas causas estructurales que se generan en las comunidades de origen, porque sabemos que la gente sale de esos municipios y regresa nuevamente. Entonces la gran apuesta es trabajar en el nivel local para generar las condiciones que permitan que las personas puedan tener opciones ante la migración irregular. Para esto, desde el gobierno del presidente Nayib Bukele se están impulsando diferentes acciones. Una de ellas es la construcción de los cubos, que son los centros urbanos de bienestar y oportunidades que están destinados para abordar diferentes aspectos, pero especialmente se enfocan en prevenir temas de violencia. Para esto, estos cubos están ubicados en diferentes municipios alrededor de todo el país para trabajar directamente con jóvenes que están en riesgos de alguna manera de caer en temas para abordar prevención de violencia, pero también prevención de migración irregular. También comentarles que creemos mucho en el trabajo que se puede hacer o desarrollar a nivel local. Para eso estamos trabajando de cerca con más de 6 municipios con los gobiernos locales para potenciar las capacidades endógenas que hay en cada uno de esos municipios a través de diferentes diagnósticos que vamos identificando y potenciar las economías locales para que la gente pueda tener medios de vida y de esta manera evitar que la gente migre de forma irregular. Sabemos que el derecho a la migración existe y se debe de dar, pero también creemos que si se generan las condiciones de desarrollo en los países y precisamente en los municipios o en los territorios, la gente no se va a ver obligada a migrar de forma irregular, que es lo que precisamente nosotros queremos abordar en abordar cuáles son los factores que propician las causas estructurales de la migración. Esas son algunas de las acciones que estamos realizando. Para eso también hemos diseñado una estrategia de prevención de migración irregular, que el objetivo es poderla implementar a nivel nacional. Como les comentaba, ahorita estamos en 6 municipios, pero la apuesta también es irlo abarcando a nivel nacional para generar esas acciones de desarrollo local. Creemos mucho en que la apuesta, si trabajamos y potenciamos estas capacidades de desarrollo en el nivel local, eso viene a fortalecer también, ¿verdad? Y viene a generar una cohesión social en toda la población y también trabajando de forma articulada entre gobierno central y gobierno local, precisamente para dar a conocer todas esas oportunidades también que se están desarrollando y que se impulsan para que las personas puedan tener opciones de desarrollo en el país. Esas son algunas acciones específicamente en el objetivo 2. Por temas de tiempo, no podemos abordar también las otras acciones que se están desarrollando en los demás objetivos, pero creo que tenemos programadas 3 sesiones más, 3 webinars más, donde podemos compartir la experiencia de El Salvador y los avances que se están teniendo en el desarrollo de los 22 objetivos restantes. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. We have just 1 minute more for Germany and 1 minute for IDWF because we do have to close. We're going to lose our translators. So thank you so much, colleagues, for your understanding. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Inspired by this enriching discussion, Germany would like to volunteer for co-chairmanship of Roundtable 1. Thank you and have a nice evening.
Well, thank you very much. We're very excited for that offer and very much appreciate that, Arine, and Germany. IDWF, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. The IDWF, the International Domestic Workers Federation, represents 650,000 domestic workers in 83 countries. For membership-based COVID-19 pandemic, informal workers, domestic workers are often rejected from social protection and economic reliefs. Poverty, climate change remain major pushing factor for forced migration. Migrants are left on the hands of unethical malpractice employment agencies due to absence of recruitment mechanism with legal regulatory frameworks by the government. with the pandemic, we have seen more costs in migration, more restrictions against especially migrant domestic workers in transfer of employment, as employers in destination find it harder than usual to hire a migrant domestic worker. Governments should work together to ensure migrants to get free vaccines and quarantine arrangement, zero agency fees, leave workers to be free from debt bondages, remove system and immigration restrictions to restrict freedom of employment transfer. IMRF has been successfully organizing migrant domestic workers and assisting them for the formation of their own organizations. They themselves provide mutual help in cases of abuses and exploitations. These are very important to be recognized, and they need to be able to engage in social dialogues. We demand governments to recognize domestic workers, all kinds of workers, regardless as workers, regardless of their status, their freedom, their rights to freedom of associations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. IDWF does really important work along with the other trade unions and employers associations, and very grateful for the governments and all of you who've intervened today, and your comments, your perspectives, and for your posting in the chat. I'm now going to turn this over to close our session, a very rich session, to our colleague David Khoudour, who will help us end the session and bring his thoughts. Thank you, David, you have the floor.
Thanks so much to Michelle and all panelists and participants for a rich discussion. I know we don't have much time, and unfortunately we couldn't hear all participants who wanted to share their views, but you are most welcome to share them on the platform of the UN Network on Migration or directly with the Secretariat. And of course, we will also have 3 more roundtables before the IMRF, so please participate and share your views. I also want to invite you on behalf of all the members of the UN Network on Migration to submit pledges ahead of the International Migration Review Forum. And I sincerely hope to see many of you in person in New York in May for the IMRF. And in the meantime, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Stay safe and healthy.
Safe travels.
Stay safe.
Thank you, everybody.